into Wales. Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, the Dauphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dauphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and we've got plenty to cover today. We will have a bit of a look back to Leicester, but I don't really want to, so it'll be very brief. Then we'll talk about a win, an actual Rotherham United win, which to say was lucky is a slight understatement, to be honest with you. But we'll cover all the action from that, and then we've got another game. 3-game episode where we're going to talk about the Sunderland game. We'll preview Sunderland coming to New York City on Friday night, the third game of the Christmas festive period. However, we had a lovely Christmas. Mick, first of all, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Thank you. All right. Got a bit of man flu, but apart from that, I'm all right.
We'll manage. How's your Christmas been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Yeah. I mean, I got my Christmas present on Boxing Day, as you're aware. Rest of it, pretty good. Plenty of beer, plenty of food. What else is there, really?
Rotherham United.
Oh, yeah.
People always, as Jamie says, evening all, will any salty Middlesbrough fans be joining us tonight? Maybe. Neil Jones with us, Harvey Kelwick, Shell Stone, Nathan Crabtree's with us as well. Palmer says, evening all, good call by the ref last night. We'll come on to that. Danny we shouldn't be on his own for long, but we are to start with, which works out quite nicely because Danny was working for the Leicester game, so we might as well start there, Mick.
Yeah, man.
3-0 loss, as expected, to be honest with you. Some good moments, some bad moments. It was as expected. That's all I can take from it. It's just, all right, that's how I thought it would go, to be honest with you.
It's funny, isn't it? It's funny because, I mean, before the game, we all expected it, apparently. Yeah. But then after the game, we were all doom, gloom, and end of the world. It was very, very bizarre. Some of the comments I read after the game just made me think I weren't sure, first of all, whether I'd been to the same game as some of these people had been watching. Some of the comments were just bizarre, quite frankly. We had no choice but to go there and try and get whatever we could out of that game because the quality that they've got in that squad is ridiculous for this division. It's absolutely outrageous. And for 60 minutes of the game, I thought we did a really good job of holding them at bay. Anybody who thought we were going to end up with 15 shots on target and 17 corners is deluded. I mean, it just bizarre, some of the comments, but anyway, that's how it is. We did a decent job for 60 minutes, and then, to be fair, I think we probably gifted them all 3 goals. Certainly 2 of the goals we gifted them. I would argue that the referee gifted them the second one. But yeah, I don't think we expected to come away from King Power with anything, and that's what we got in it ultimately. And the £198 million difference in value of squad kind of showed. Who'd have thought, eh?
Weird that, isn't it?
Who'd have thought that?
Nathan Crabtree says it could have been worse, and that's about it. That sums it up pretty well. Danny, we're not going to spend long on Leicester game because it's been and gone, and there's quite a lot of water passed under the bridge since then. What were your thoughts and feelings on it? We all want to win a game. We all want to win a game of football. And if we'd have come up with Leicester, it'd have been amazing. But you've got to be realistic, haven't you? And to say that could have been worse, as Nathan just said in the comments, at Leicester. Danny's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi's been awful. I'm going to log out and come back, lads. See if I can improve it.
Fair enough. Shelley says, could see it coming against Leicester. We'd have been very well to keep out for 90 minutes. Just wish we had a plan B if it was the midfield battle we were losing, not up front. Paramount says a lot of money went on 3-0 Leicester, just saying. Cody and Iacho on the bench are worth more than our entire squad. Yeah, I thought we did okay. I thought you can always ask questions. What I would say, I thought Nombe had particular joy on the right hand side against the long haired guy. Can't remember his name now. We just needed a bit more service, really.
Yeah.
But it feels a lazy thing for me to say. But what can you do? They're just. It sounds really simplistic and lazy, but I generally do think I don't know what more we could have done.
I think given the number of injuries we've got in our squad and how depleted it is, the fact that we can't even fill the bench at the moment, and their bench is worth more than our stadium and team put together. You know, it's always going, like I say, it's always going to be a difficult one. But you've got to stay in the game. I think this particular game was one of those that the Matt Taylor playing away from home tactic of stay in it and see if you can catch him on the break. Was probably the only one of the games this season where that tactic fitted, and we tried that and we did a reasonable job until, you know, the two goals. The first goal, I think Victor probably will think he could have done better. He pushed the ball out rather than sideways. It was a decent save, but it went out rather than you know, out towards the corner flag after he touched it. But then we've got to defend that better as well. You know, so that was disappointing. The second goal, well, I mean, we can talk about it all night. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a penalty. It's just simply not a penalty. It's not a foul. You know, and if it is a foul, then the ball should never have got there, because there was 10 times as much contact on Rotherham prior to that ball dropping to them than there was on the Leicester player. He's taken 3 or 4 paces before he's gone down.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so it's not a penalty at all, whether it's in or outside the area. For me, it's irrelevant. And again, poor defending for the third goal. You know, it should have been defended better. So, but when you're under that amount of pressure for that amount of time against that quality, you know, mistakes are going to happen. You can't call people out for it, in my view, anyway.
I agree, completely agree.
Yeah.
Danny's with us. Danny, how's the Wi-Fi holding up?
It might be all right now.
It seems to be like working.
This is weird. I've plugged my laptop in at the mains, and then suddenly my Wi-Fi is all right. Explain that one.
Don't know. It likes electricity.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's power hungry. Just give us just sum up your thoughts and feelings for the Leicester game before we move on to Borough.
Oh Christ! For the Leicester game, well, whilst the Leicester game was on, I was out and about, so I was listening to it on Radio Sheffield. Yeah, it didn't sound the best. I mean, it sounded all right for the first half. Oh God, he's played up again, isn't it?
Yeah, you went out, then you're back now, though.
This is bizarre. So yeah, Rotherham played up a bit like my Wi-Fi. It was fine for a bit and then just capitulated. So they're my thoughts.
Fair enough.
But for those 20 minutes, yeah, my mum sort of like went and my mum sort of dropped off someone's present, and then when she came back, we're 2-0 down, and she went, "How?" And it's like, Rotherham. There you go. But I think it was always going to be a tall order, but the golfing class showed, because they just sort of blitzed it for 20 minutes, and then we were 3-0 down, really. But it is one of them games where you sort of have to just take it on the chin and move on, because we played well against Leicester earlier on in the season, because I think we were all just new to the season, really. Whereas now that they've got going a bit, it's a bit, there's the golfing class, you know. I mean, Liam Richardson even described it himself. They're a Premier League team in the Championship, and it's like, yeah. So the one thing I can take from the game is that we're going to get battered at Fulham.
Fair enough. That's that. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Kelly for Bob says Limbakis is coming for a lot of stick recently. I thought he did really well against Mavizidi. This also brings on to the Borough game, Mick, because I think the last 3 games, including the Plymouth game, we have all called for Dexter to be taken out of the firing line. and that's where we saw it. I thought against Plymouth he was very good. I thought against Leicester he was very good, and I thought yesterday against Borough he was very, very good. Liam Richardson has done only 3 games, small sample size, but Liam Richardson seems to have understood what Dexter needs, what we need from Dexter, and that he's a wing back, not a right back.
Who would have thought that? Eh?
I know.
Who would have thought a player with some quality, showing some quality, a player with some quality who's just gone through a bad patch and comes out the other side. I mean, I'm gobsmacked. I've never seen that happen before. I know I'm being sarcastic and smart and everything else, but you know, he's a quality footballer. He's a 19-year-old quality footballer, and he's going to have bad patches. We don't need to be calling him out and telling him everybody should be dropped and sent back. We don't need to be doing that. You know, we just need to let him get on with his game. Maybe had we got some fit players, then I'm sure he would have been taken out of the firing line a little bit. Just while his form picked up. We've not got that luxury, unfortunately, because we haven't got another fit right back other than Lee Peltz, and unfortunately for him, he's out as injured. You know, he's out injured every other game at the moment. So yeah, I mean, it's great to see him back on some sort of form and causing some problems down that right hand side. He played very, very well at Leicester, I thought, for the bulk of it. So yeah, it's great to see him. It's great to see him turning up again down that right hand side.
I agree. Before we move on to the Borough game properly, let's pick up a few other bits of information. Jamie asks, "Is anything happening with Bowler? Not in the squad, but new manager can always bring a new lease of life to certain players. So let's wait and see what happens with Bowler. Because I think as soon as the 1st of January, I think he can register people again. So potentially it could be available from those games onwards." Shelley says, "Seen a tweet earlier that Kyoso is coming back. Any truth, and how do we feel about it? Would he get in the current squad?" Yeah, I've seen the tweet. I have no suggestions of whether that is there's validity or not to the tweet. Having said that, Danny, he's going to be coming back in it. There's no ifs, buts, or maybe. We could all put a tweet out because for me, it's so obvious that for one reason or another, Peter Kyoso will be back as a Rotherham only player within 4 or 5 days, probably.
Well, I saw one tweet that sort of I saw the tweet that you're on about, and it said from the 1st of January, and it's like, but Kyoso joins Peterborough quite late on in the window, so I think he can only come back after January the 18th. That's a backup tweet that I saw to it. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just something to bear in mind if it ticks over to the 1st of January and the club haven't put out a tweet saying he's been recalled. But yeah, I think with Kyoso in January, I think it's more or less nailed on that he's going to come back, purely because we've got a new manager and he'll want to have a look at him. Because in my opinion, anyway, it'd be silly to have a player ripping it up in League One, captaining the side in League One, on loan from us, and then just go and just leave him be. That'd be silly. At least bring him back and have a look. If the manager decides that he's not ready, then fair enough, he can go back out if Peterborough wants him again. But at the same time, if we are so short of bodies at right back in terms of younger players, like no disrespect to Peltier, but we've seen that he can do a game and then has to miss one. And then we've got Lembikisa as well. So bringing Kyoso back as one of our own players just adds bodies to the team. And that's what we need. We just need bodies. I mean, Richardson's come out and said Humphreys is further in front of Blackett in coming back. But
weeks, not months.
Yeah, weeks. So it's just like, but still, it's still going to be a waiting game for them to come back. So we need another defensive body and someone who's more right back orientated, which Kyoso is. So unfortunately, Peterborough, if any of your fans are watching this, if their chairman's watching this, you can block me on Twitter. I don't mind. Kyoso's nailed on to come back, lads. I'm sorry. He's just doing too well not to come back. And in that sense,
but Danny, they want him to stay.
Well, you want to know what Darren McAntony needs to get his wallet out and pay whatever we say to pay then, because he's still got a year left on his deal at the end of this season. So that's on them. If they don't want to pay the money we want them to, then tough. Isn't it? That's the business. We saw it happen with Kiefer Moore.
Yeah.
You know, it was on loan at us, and was it Barnsley that wanted to sell him?
No, he was on loan from Ipswich and Barnsley bought him.
That's it. So Ipswich recalled him and sold him to Barnsley. So it's just like, you know, you just have to take it on the chin, deal with it.
Yeah.
Football's a rough game.
Yeah, I can't remember we talked about this on the podcast, Mick, whether we put the podcast or whether we talked about it at Leicester game. But it's like Peterborough have never had a good loan player before. Because how many loan players? Don't mention one Kiefer Moore. I could go Noah Dicko, Carl Robinson back in the day. We could name you 10 players that we've all fell in love with as a loan player. And then when he called, you know what we do? We go, that's right annoying that. I am gutted that he's gone.
Yeah.
Go on Twitter and slag off other club that have called him back. It's just been my year.
I mean, it's bizarre. It's really bizarre. There must be something in water down in Peterborough that makes people behave like this, because it seems to be quite a regular occurrence that, you know, there's dummies flying out at the cop week after week after week about something. I don't know what it is. It's bizarre. I mean, maybe it's just, you know, maybe it's just the odd one or two that are very vocal about stuff. But some of the comments, some of the social media posts about this situation is mind-boggling. It's like, what? It's like they don't. Some people don't really understand how the loan market works. Club's entitled, to be fair, loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you have to do with a loan? You have to pay it back. I don't know. Whatever. Listen, it should never have gone out in the first place, in my view. And I'm sure lots of Rotherham fans feel the same. You know, it left us woefully short down that side anyway. Why? How anybody could think that he's not up to Championship standard blows my mind, really. And also how anybody could think that we are better within the squad than him in that position, again, also is really unbelievable. So he should never have gone. However, you know, he has gone. He's got fit. He started playing really, really well. For some bizarre reason, they've given him the captain's armband as a loan player, which just, again, it is bizarre. I can't get my head around that. But it comes back. It comes back 100%. It comes back. We're short down the right hand side, you know, and he is a quality player in that position. End of.
He can also fill it centre half as well.
Yeah, exactly. It just shut up.
Yeah.
I think the Kyoto situation is case in point that a lot has happened behind the scenes that we don't know.
Yeah.
But also plays into the narrative that as new manager, he needs to look at him. You know, and he needs to see him in training. If Kyoto comes back and he's not arse, then fair enough, he goes back on loan, not to Peterborough, just to be purely funny. But if he comes in and likes the cut of Liam Richardson's jib, then he will do a job for us, because that's football. We pay his wages effectively. And Peterborough have said, I think, recently that they can't afford Kyoto's wages to buy him outright as it stands.
Yeah.
So, yeah, rock and hard place, unfortunately. And it might turn into a Curtis Tilt situation, which I think every Rotherham fan doesn't want it to, because as Kyoto's shown when he's on form, he's fantastic. But I suppose in one sense, it's a good thing that Liam Richardson has been on the opposite side of the Curtis Tilt situation. So he sort of could understand the Kyoto situation a little bit better. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting start to the January window, I think.
If there's a possibility, he'll be back on the 1st or 2nd of January. I imagine he's going to give like 24 hours notice, but he'll be back as soon as possibly can. Chris Taylor says, watch him come back and do his hamstring. Yeah, that's about right, actually. Do his hamstring out for season.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on.
Then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair. Let's move on, Danny, to the win. Lady Luck was shining and smiling upon Rotherham United on Boxing Day. Just talk to me about it. Again, how do we start? Thoughts and feelings on what is a massive win?
Well, it was very lucky, don't get me wrong. So that's why I've decided to open the Irish whiskey that I got for Christmas, Luck of the Irish and all that. But Bramall's goal, he's put on social media like, yeah, I definitely meant it. No, no, not in the slightest. But there were, I'm sure we'll talk about the goal very shortly, but there were so many instances of luck just shining down on us that day. It was about bloody time, I might add, that we got some luck. We got lucky with the penalty decision because I thought that were a nailed-on penalty. And a lot of fans have said that it was as well. We got lucky with Middlesbrough not being able to hit a bull's arse with a banjo. And I think we got it's slightly down to a Doffin's defensive awareness, but also a bit of luck as well, that he was in the right place at the right time to block that shot. And I'm sure we've seen the tweet that says, how did Middlesbrough not score from here, but Rotherham scored from where Cohen Bramall scored? You know, So I'm trying my Irish whiskey in celebration of that.
Yeah. Let's start with the pen, Mick, because this is realistically this is the moment of the game. This is the big moment. If we were Middlesbrough fans, we'd be sitting here saying this has changed game because it was 0-0 at the time. Hacks leans on the opposition, pushes him off balance, and it was clear through on goal. It wasn't a genuine attempt for the ball. So if you think it's a foul, it would have to be a red card and a penalty. I've seen some people saying it wasn't in the area. It was 100 million% inside the area. But the contact may have started outside the area, ended in the area, which makes it inside the area. I'll give you my opinion now, Mick. It was a penalty red card. I think it's a shocking decision. It's one of the worst this season at New York Stadium. It is absolutely nil. And we've had some shockers this season. It's up there. I thought it was a shocking decision.
I don't think it's one of the worst, but it's
Really?
You're right, it is up there. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. And it's a penalty. He's got caught out. Hacks has got caught out. The player's quicker than he thought he was. He's leaned into him. He's basically cut across him. You look at it from one angle, from the angle from behind the goal, and you can clearly see that it's a penalty. The referee's looking at it from completely the opposite angle. So I don't know whether he's seen something different, whether his view or his perspective is such that it looks like it's shoulder to shoulder from the angle that the referee's at. I don't know, but it's a penalty. I can't. It is. The other issue, though, from a Middlesbrough point of view, is that he's gone down the way the player's gone down. It's a typical dive. I'm not saying he's dove, but what I'm saying is that the way he has gone down with his arms up in the air and legs pointing perfectly straight behind him, that kind of thing. He's made the most of the fall. Which has probably convinced the referee that it's a deliberate dive. But if it is, it's a yellow card, True. So, but yeah, he's got it wrong, and I'd be screaming my head off had it been the other way. But like I said on the post-match, we have had so many decisions, so many dreadful decisions go against us this season that doesn't in any way begin to compensate for the losses that we've suffered as a result of poor decision making this season. It don't even scratch the surface of it. So it's a good start, but we've got a long way to go before we reach any sort of parity, as far as I'm concerned, with decisions going our way or bad decisions going our way. But yeah, for me, it is a penalty. It cuts across him.
Harry says he doesn't think it's a penalty. He thought it was shoulder to shoulder. It gone down stuff. I think he's got the contact, which has pushed him off balance. But then, like Mick says, I think he's thrown himself down. But there was still a foul in there. Adrian Sherrick says it's not a penalty. It goes as to when the initial contact is, and that was outside the area. It's shoulder to shoulder. Middle player looking for contact. No, it's where the contact ends. If the contact ends within the area, that makes it a penalty. If that's what we're saying happened. And there was definitely contact inside the area. 1,000,000%. Look at the replays; it's definitely there. Danny, lucky.
Yeah, lucky. Very lucky. Watching the replay, I thought it was a penalty. Just because we've seen them given before, really, and like you said, the contact carries on into the box, and I agree with you, mate. The player does make a meal of it, and that's probably convinced the referee that it's not, because it is very dramatic. But at the same time, the contact's there. He's effectively got in front of him not made contact with the ball and took the player and just effectively just barged him off the ball, which is a penalty. In those situations where you fouled the player and he's gone down in the box, that's a penalty. But the referee was sort of sold on his dramatics. But it's nice to see a nice, refreshing referee in the Championship, not give in to those sort of dramatics. I'm sure he'll be refereeing in League One soon because that doesn't fit the narrative of giving the penalty to the bigger teams all the time. So, yeah. I know. But, yeah, very lucky to not have that given against us. If that gets given against us and they score, then Lord knows what the score could have been.
Oh, it's 1-0 down to 10 men, and then the game's gone realistically.
Yeah. Yeah, at least it wasn't Ayala this time.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, let's talk about the goal. We'll come back to Hacks later on, Mick, because it deserves his own little section. Covering Bramall. I don't really know what to say because I can't really say on the instant reaction, but the fact he can't cross the ball has really, really worked in our favour because he's completely balls that up in terms of a cross. And I just couldn't believe it. I say couldn't believe it. As soon as it left his foot, there was something in that 10th of a second. Oh, bloody hell, that's going towards goal, that. And it just doesn't keep it like an absolute thing. Look, we need a bit of luck. We're desperate for a bit of luck. And that's 2 pieces of luck in the space of 10 minutes, wherever it was.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, Colin Bramall realised, knew straight away. Obviously, he didn't mean it. He knew he meant to cross the ball. I think you're being a bit unfair to say he's not. He can't cross because he can. It's just he's not consistent enough in doing it. But don't forget he's a defender. He's a defender. He's not this position that he's playing in at the moment. He's not one that he's played all his career. It's one that he's now beginning to adapt to and adapt really well as well. He's finding a lot of space, making some really good runs. And again on Saturday, not Saturday because it wasn't Saturday, whatever it was on Boxing Day, we'll go with that shower. You're making some good runs and players are turning away rather than knocking it over the top for him to run onto. So that's something that the rest of the squad need to be looking at as well. But yeah, I mean, of course it's lucky. Of course it's lucky. It's a cross. But having said that, had he hit the cross properly, then Tom Eaves would have buried it anyway. So, swings and roundabouts. But yeah, I mean, it's lucky. And like Danny said, it's about time. It's absolutely about time because with the luck that we've had this season, if we'd not had bad luck, we wouldn't have had any at all. Because everything from injuries to refereeing decisions to poor decision making by players to mistakes by players, everything has gone the wrong way. And I know the argument is you make your own luck sometimes, but you just need a helping hand at times, and we got that on Boxing Day without a doubt. On both counts.
Both counts. Yeah. Another lucky one we'll talk about in a minute as well. But it's the fortune favours the brave, Danny. And for me, it was only a cross, but it was what we've been missing. It was Bramall making that run to allow a pass from Rathbone to get an early ball into the box. Now I know he didn't mean to do it, but it's that early ball we've all been crying out for all season. Now if he takes that touch, then obviously that doesn't happen. He's trying to be brave by putting the ball in the box early, and that's kind of paid off. That we've seen that in the last couple of games from Liam Richardson's teams. There is that trying to be a bit more braver on the ball in the final third and the box entries, as pundits like to say. And without that box entry, the goal doesn't go in, and that's what we've all been crying out for. And this is one of the reasons.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you watch the build up to the goal, the little passage of play with Rathbone involved as well, how he just lays off the ball perfectly to Bramall, and the run that he makes, like you say, fortune favours the brave. He's bombed forward, but he sort of had to get the cross in early because I think it was Borough's number 18 was completely on him like a flash. So I don't know whether he's rushed it or what, but he's read that situation and gone, I need to get this ball in as quickly as possible. And funnily enough, it's just come up on my phone, a replay of the goal. He's arrowed it straight towards Tom Eaves at the back post, but there's no spin on the ball whatsoever. So it's just a completely arrowed cross-come shot, if you like. and it caught out the keeper and goal stands, simple as. But like I say, McTominay will have finished that even if the keeper fumbled it or if it landed straight on his head. But that's what I'm liking about Liam Richardson's new approach to it. We're getting braver, we're getting more confident with early balls in. All right, fair enough, we're not shooting at goal itself as much as I'd like, but that's coming with confidence now. It's about getting the confidence elsewhere, and then it sort of builds to in the middle of the park where strikers get the confidence, i.e. bring Georgie Kelly on a little bit earlier because he's Georgie Kelly and he'll have a go from anywhere. He's had a go from near enough the halfway line earlier this season as well. But Bramall's goal sort of encapsulated everything that we sort of needed at this point in the season. We needed that look to go our way with the officials, but also the look to go our way at the opposite end, and we've got that, and we've got a rare 3 points this season, and now we just need to build on it. That's Richardson's next job. Build on it, because Sunderland are coming next. They're a little bit iffy at the minute as well. So Bramall's goal could like that with the things next to it, be a massive building block for the rest of the season. Great escape material? I don't know. But it could be a thing where, Richardson could string a run together.
Absolutely.
It could be a pivot point. That's what it could be.
Could be. Christopher says he was talking outside reception later, saying he meant it, but laughing his head off. Said it bobbled, which it definitely did. Moving on to some other individual performances. Let's start with Hacks. Emma says, how many I know has Hacks won man of the match at home for? This is a funny one, Mick. And I'm going to play devil's advocate. I thought Hacks was brilliant, but if Hacks gives away a penalty, gets sent off, which is probably what should have happened. What are we saying about Hacks' performance then? I know it's all if, buts, and maybes. Yeah. But it really, ironically, his performance went up a level after that moment, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It absolutely did. He obviously realised he got got a bit of a reprieve there and stepped it up even further. It was immense. It was absolutely immense at the back there. So fully deserved man of the match. Why he wasn't in the club's man of the match poll at the end is I don't understand that. That's just bizarre. Yeah. And neither was Victor. That's the two players who realistically were vying for man of the match. Neither were in the club's list. I don't know whether they're just trying to spread it out a bit, in the name of equality or what. But it was fantastic, Hakeem Odoffin. But as you said in that post match, I prefer him in midfield. I would prefer him in midfield, not least because it means we've got some fit central defenders as well. But yeah, he's a quality individual all round. He's Hakeem Odoffin. He's a lovely bloke and a quality footballer. So yeah, great, fully deserved man of the match performance.
He has his ability, Danny, and he does this in midfield as well as defence. He just pops up. Now, I think he was meant to be playing on the right-hand side of the three, but it was as often clearing the ball on the left-hand side of the penalty box as he was the right-hand side of the box. He just has that knack of moving towards the ball and understanding where the danger is going to be, and then clear. And then, to be fair, that feeds really, really nicely to Sean Morrison because he was great yesterday. But the way Hacks plays allows Morrison to do what he does best because Hacks is mopping up. He's done that Cameroon for his role when Richard Wood played last season. He's just mopping up everything else and allows the guy in the middle to do what he needs to do. And Hacks is like a firefighter and a giant as a footballer as well.
Yeah, it's just he's got very good defensive awareness, but he's also very mobile with it as well. It's almost like he just orbits Sean Morrison at times in the middle and just mops things up, which is a great quality to have as a defender. But yeah, it was an absolutely colossal performance from Odoffin. I think other than the gritty teeth moment with the penalty, it was faultless, I thought. He put his body on the line. Like I say, he orbited Sean Morrison really well and mopped up. One of Hack's better performances. I think maybe up there with his best performance of the season, potentially.
Fair shout.
I won't say it is his best performance because I still want it to build up that head of steam where everything sort of clicks a little bit better.
Let's move on to another star performer, Victor Hanson. That save, Mick. There's a couple of saves, but that save in the second half that he's tipped onto the post. I'm about to say there's an element of luck in there because of the way it's bounced off the post. But that save is just what is one of his best saves for us. And that's just because he's had to make a lot of saves for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the one against Swansea were pretty decent to prevent the own goal, weren't it? But
True, yeah.
It's a world-class save, isn't it? But then he's a world-class goalkeeper. I'm sorry, he is. So I know that's ridiculous when you talk about the fact that we're talking about Rotherham United. But he is, and he'll go on to bigger and better things. We all know that, and we've all got to start preparing ourselves for when that day comes, because I'm sure it will come, whether it be in January, whether it be the summer or what, you know. But we just need to enjoy it, and it does it. It turns those performances in week out, and he shows some absolute. He shows the passion for the game, for the club, for the players, for the team that everybody wants. You know, we all want that, and it starts with Victor, and it kind of spreads throughout the team. So yeah, it was outstanding. That save was genuinely a world class save, really, really good, and a match saving save as well.
No, well, absolutely, and there was a couple of other. There was one in the first half as well, Danny, as well. It's difficult with keepers because sometimes you can just say in that position you can just have a solid keeper and everything's sort of fine. You know what I mean? Like a Marek Rodak when we had Rodak and players like that. They're solid. Dan Iverson, they're a decent keeper. You don't have to worry too much about it. Not going to make a mistake, but they're not spectacular. Whereas Victor is just another level to that. He is the spectacular. He pulls off saves. He has no rights to make. He has this ability in a strange way. He has ability as a person to not be the centre of attention, but to be able to motivate a stadium. And as a goalkeeper, goalkeepers don't do that. Goalkeepers are the ones that you should be noticing the least. But Victor has that ability just to be the centre of everything in a really positive way, and a catalyst as well. He just breeds positivity and performance in terms of the rest of the team and the fans as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of wanting to be the centre of attention. Absolutely because Victor's not like that. And even drawing the attention to himself and motivating the fans, I don't think it's a case of wanting to do it. I think it's just the raw passion that he's got and the mentality of, to be the main character. Because at the minute, he is the main character in the sense of sometimes he saves us the game, not just a shot on target, but a game-saving save, like you said, Mick. And that save he pulls off, good Lord, it's fantastic. It's fingertips onto the post, but you could watch it over and over again. Like I said, match-winning save. But he has that ability not just to motivate fans, but also the players. He sort of rallies round everybody. And he's showing quite a lot of leadership skills as well with that. And I think if he was maybe a bit more of a senior keeper, he would be club captain. But there's a comment, it needs to get a better move than the Blades, though. He's not going anywhere until at least next summer.
What do you think?
Bet. Because Victor's already come out and sort of not admitted himself, but sort of said he wants to try and keep us in the division, which is a great thing, great motivator to have. And I think he'll see out the season. If we go down, he'll probably move on somewhere a lot better than us. But if we stay up, who knows? But I do think he might go in the summer.
So let's talk about it. Well, here we might as well talk about this because the January transfer window is 5 days away now. Liam Richardson said something interesting in the post-match, essentially like that if the players leave, if Victor leaves, it means we can bring in some more bodies or something like that. It wasn't, but Victor's prime value is now for us. For Rotherham United, the prime value is now. Because if we are a League One club in May, his value halves for us. We can't demand £7 million for a League One goalkeeper. You just can't. You're not going to get that money. Whereas now, you could easily say you could probably get £4 and £5 million for him, and that's slightly undervalued. You're not getting that in League One for me. from a club's point of view, taking my heart out of the situation, because I'd love to see that bloke at our football club for the rest of his career. But taking that out of it, the best time for us to cash in on him is January.
Yeah, probably, possibly. He's not a League One goalkeeper, and if we go down the end of this season, he still won't be a League One goalkeeper. So
No.
that in terms of the value of him as a player to any other club, that's irrelevant. It's absolutely, for me, it's irrelevant. You know, if you're Rob Scott, who I assume would be in charge or involved in any transfer out of the club for any player, then what division we're in is irrelevant. Don't make him any better or worse player, any of them. So, and therefore, in my view, it doesn't affect the value. You know, people talking £2, £3, £5 million is worth a lot more than that.
Yeah,
lot more than that, without question. And we need to be. Well, I don't know. I don't want him to go.
No,
it's as simple as that. I don't want him to go, but I'm a realist as well. So I don't want to speculate on it. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I just hope that the club do not sell ourselves short with anybody, any outgoings from the club, but particularly with Victor. You know, he signed a new contract. He's knowing that the chances are that he won't be staying with us. You know, the chances are, well, they're not. The chances are, it's not about chances. He will be playing at a higher level at some stage. So let's wait and see, shall we? Let's just wait and see how it all pans out. I'm sure there'll be some people who'll be disappointed that we haven't got 20 million for him or 15 or whatever. We may well. You never know. Who knows? Let's wait and see what happens, because the speculation's already starting from other clubs, as has been mentioned in the comments there. You know, about Chris Wilder at Bramble Lane, thinking that they might put in an offer. I mean, they can't. That's not going to happen. They haven't got any money. You know, their owners have taken all the money, all the Premiership promotion money out of the club, and so they've got nothing to spend it on. So there's been talk about Everton, because I'd heard somewhere that Pickford is likely or could be sold. Given
it doesn't make sense, that, by the way, because Billy Mercer coached Victor for a brief time, and Billy Mercer's very tight with Sean Dyche. It's not at Everton, but they're very tight.
Yeah, and to be fair, Victor is a Sean Dyche kind of player, you know, and I think they get on well there, and Everton have got some financial issues anyway in terms of so if they can offload Pickford, that's an option. But the best option is for him to be a Rotherham United player in May. Let's wait and see.
Fair enough. Paramount says hope he sees that and signs a new deal. Paramount says 5 million. If it's £5 million, you're not buying a replacement. Imagine what Limerick could do with that kind of money in January. You know, if we're within a reasonable points distance, and you can get a young good lone goalkeeper in, he can buy a couple of new centre halves. He can buy a new centre half. He can buy a couple of wingers. Danny, £5 million can go a long way in a January transfer window. If that's your thinking. None of us. I'm not trying to sell victory here. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying. I don't know what I'm saying. I feel like a problem.
But 5 million doesn't go a long way in terms of championship players.
Well, it does. Nombe with £1 million, and he's proving to be a championship player.
Yeah, but he wasn't like a player from the championship, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, I personally think it would be the wrong choice to sell Victor in January. Like, if we were desperately short of money, then yes. If we definitely needed to just splurge money out on bringing in like quote unquote expensive players in the championship, then yes. But in terms of giving it the best go possible, it's staying in this league, however slim the chances are now, we have to keep Victor. And I agree with me, his value won't go down by much if Rotherham are a League One club next season, because it's based on the quality of the individual, not the team that they're in. And I mean, even on a non-biased poll, Victor's the 8th best keeper in the league. You know, yeah, exactly my point. Even non-biased poll, they've ranked Victor as the 8th best keeper in the league. I personally think he is the best keeper in the league, right? But I think the best thing for the club would be to, if we really want to attack League One next season, and Victor has his heart set on going elsewhere, which is ifs and maybes anyway. It'd be a case of him going in May and not January. I think January might be a case of some loans going back, bringing in fresher loans. I don't think we'll be spending a lot of money in January, to be fair. I think it will be loans and frees, which tends to be our model in January. But we've got the capability to actually bring in right people. Lee Richardson's obviously got his list. Rob Scott's got his list, and they're working together to get a definite list. But I don't think we're going to sell Victor. I really, really don't. I just don't see it. If we do, I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong, but I just don't see it. I think Victor is one of the strongest strings to our bow in staying up this season, however slim the chances are.
Let's wait and see. There's only 18 months left of his contract. We're in that zone. It's only 18 months.
Does he have an option for an extension, though?
I don't know, but I wouldn't have thought so with a renewal.
Well, I suppose it'd still be a year left. I mean, we sold Ben Wiles with a year left, and that was, what, 2 mil, I think? Near enough?
One at most. We criticise the club a lot for not getting value out of players. That's what I would say. If you want to start getting value out of players, you need to sell them at the right time. But anyway, let's move on.
Again, I don't think it's the right time.
We'll see. Let's move. Let's see. Batman says, "Love Victor, want him to stay forever." This is where we're all at. Putting our Rotherham hat on. Jamie says we need to tell him he's not allowed to leave yet. I'm going to change that, Jamie. Tell him he's not allowed to leave ever. He's Rotherham for life, that lad.
I do. This is a conversation that I don't want to have.
I know.
You know, it's like one of those feelings that you have as a kid when your mum and dad say, "Right, come in here and sit down. I've got something to talk to you about." It's that feeling. I don't want to have the conversation. Okay, genuinely, I don't. But
we're going to the Victor chat on a very positive note, and it's a congratulations to Victor. So if you follow his Instagram on Instagram, you'll see that he's about to be a daddy, probably in the summertime, I would guess. So congratulations to Victor and Sigurd. That is wonderful news, and Tobias as well. A granddad again. Congratulations to your Hansons. Very well done. That's not right.
No, that's not right.
God.
Moving on.
Victor, call it Danny, please. It'd be funny.
Matthew's a lovely name, I've heard, Victor, if you're watching. Just saying. Moving back to yesterday, Mick. Again, I don't want to bring it down again, but that first half was a worrying performance, to be honest with you. For 35 minutes, that was a really worrying performance in the sense that we didn't really try and win the game. It was a very I feel bad saying this, but it was a very Matt Taylor type performance. It was very much right. Try and stay in the game. Let's hope nothing bad happens, and then hopefully something happens and we win the game. I suppose that's how it went, but at the same time, Middlesbrough are a good team, but they're not that good to show them that much respect. I didn't think. No. Did you think it was too much respect, or did you just think the setup was wrong?
I think a bit of both. I think the setup was wrong because we were trying. The manager or the management team felt, you know, they deserve more respect than they should have had. You know, you take Dan Barlas out of that Middlesbrough team, and they've got nothing in that middle. We said it on the post match, and I'm sure there'll be loads of Middlesbrough fans disagreeing with this. But without Dan Barlas in that team, they had nothing. You know, he ran the show for them, and of all the teams in the Championship, Rotherham United is the one that should know the damage that Dan Barlas can do if you give him the time and the space on the ball. And we gave him the time and the space on the ball. And as a result, we were on the back foot for most of that first 35, 40 minutes. But then, credit to Liam Richardson, he changed it around. He moved it around a little bit. We got back into the game. And then in the second half, we came out firing. So, yeah, it wasn't great at all. Too much. We gave them far too much time, far too much space, and we gave Dan Barlas the opportunity to do whatever he wanted with the ball. So that was the issue, I think, for me. And I hope we don't see that again on Friday night. I'm pretty sure we won't. I don't want to say it again, full stop, to be perfectly honest with you. But you know, yeah, we got away with it.
Yeah, we did. Like, you can understand that when you go Leicester away, you can understand that there's that type of performance, because that is a bit of a hope game. When you're at home to anybody, you can't be giving that much respect to anybody in this league. Then even the Leicester at home, we didn't when we played Leicester at home. We can't be giving that much respect. And I felt like the midfield was where the issue was. I thought for the first half an hour, Ollie Rathbone and Jimmy Lindsay were running around like headless chickens. They didn't look like they knew where they needed to be. Barlas was finding all them gaps, all that space. And if they didn't have their injury problems, we would have probably lost that game, because they have their problems of missing some key players. And Barlas would have found one of the better players and they would have scored. And that's a concern when we play teams that have. Jack Clark's played Sunderland on Friday, and people like that. You're so wary of these teams that have quality, because they will punish you if they're on form and you allow them that time and space.
Yeah. First off, Middlesbrough had us on toast. I'll quite happily admit that. We just didn't seem to have any sort of bite, like I say, especially in midfield. There were no bite, and we were just chasing the game, really. And yeah, I completely agree. We shouldn't be doing that to teams in this league, regardless of how much money their squad costs or which like big names are in their team. We shouldn't give them the respect of the game, because the game's the game. We're in the same league for whatever reason. All right, it's not necessarily a complete level playing field, but on a football pitch, you play the game of football, and just to give a team respect, it's almost like we're already admitting that they're better than us. We're respecting the better team, but we shouldn't have to do that. We should have a bite in the game to go, all right, you're a bigger club than us, we're going to give it a good go. But I didn't feel like we did that in the first half, especially watching the game back itself. But in the second half, we really gave it a good going. So fair play to Lee Richardson on his halftime team talk, because it had definitely had an impact. And that feels like something that we've not had for a bit, like a manager capable of a very big uplifting team talk to get the best out of us in the second half. However, I'd like to see it from the first whistle next time, please.
Yes, agree.
I was stressed watching the game back. That's how bad it was.
Holly says he thinks Jamie Lindsay did a lot better in the second half. Yeah, I think Lee Richardson deserves credit for this, Mick, because under Matt Taylor, the only way we were going to see changes was personnel changes. We saw it against Wednesday in Southampton. If we were under the cost, the only way things were going to change is by bringing a left back on, a right back on, whatever you want it to be. Lee Richardson was able to change it in the game by we went to a 4 at the back very briefly, then we switched back to a 5 at the back, and then half time came and they flew up a rocket up, and because we started like a train, a train, a slow moving train, but still a train. But so Lee Richardson deserves a lot of credit for tactically adjusting it without, because when you make a sub, you hamper yourself, don't you? You almost fight with arms tied behind. He was able to fix it without having to sort of hamstring himself later on in the game.
Yeah, I think so. I think on that Jamie Lindsay subject, he did look a bit off it, to be fair. I don't know whether he's suffering a little bit with some sort of illness or what, but he didn't look his usual figure-like self, did he? He kind of drifted in and out of the game a little bit. So I don't know whether there's an illness there or what, but yeah, the manager did seem to change it a couple of times. Changed the setup a few times, and it definitely had an impact. So that's another positive in it. That's another positive.
Absolutely is. Midfield, Danny. Ollie Rathbone's a strange one, because I think he has dropped his levels recently. Now, I don't know what that reason is. He might be carrying injury. It might be the fact we're having to rinse every single second of the game out on Ollie Rathbone. I don't know what it is, but he struggled until the last 20 minutes when I thought he came alive. I thought Ollie Rathbone really, really struggled. And I am getting slightly concerned that he's not turning it around. And that's on Liam Richardson. That's on the manager to get the best out of Ollie Rathbone. But I am concerned because, like I've said, you'll see the scouting report I did with a Sunderland fan. He mentioned Ollie Rathbone about being such a good player in the past. And when Ollie Rathbone ticks, Rotherham tick. And we're not quite seeing Ollie where his performances have been. But he's not awful. He's not costing us games and things like that. He's just, for me, his performance levels are not up where they were.
Yeah, I think because we were not at our best in the early stages of this season, Ollie definitely went into games and tried a bit too hard because he tried to not only self-motivate, but motivate the team as well by effectively running his arse off every single game. And maybe we're showing the come down from that, where everybody else is starting to uplift a little bit and Ollie's dropped just to effectively rest a little bit. Because you can't be a million miles an hour all the time and not do something bad to yourself. I mean, it's a miracle that he's not been injured yet and that he's not pulled something. So that could play into it a little bit. He's been told to calm it down. But...
Touch the wood, Danny. You've cursed us.
Touch the wood. Yeah, touch the wood. Touch the wood. Yeah, so Ollie, don't get injured, please. But again, maybe that's part of it as well. He's trying to mitigate it, where he might be carrying some sort of niggle, but doesn't want to make it worse. So that's why his levels have dropped a little bit. Because, like you say, when Ollie's on song, Rotherham United play a lot better. But I think his levels have just dropped now that Jamie Lindsay's come back into it, so he might be picking up a little bit of the slack from time to time. Because I thought Lindsay was really, really good as well against Middlesbrough. And yeah, I just think Ollie just needs to find that little level between being a million miles an hour all the time and where he is now. If he finds that level again, we might see the Ollie of last season come back through as well. So, Mick, you're shaking your head. What have I said?
No, I was just going to say, I don't think his level has dropped.
Okay.
I don't think his level's dropped at all. I think his level's still the same as it always has been. But his impact on the game is different. His impact on the game is different because he's not got any help in there. He's on his own. He's on his own in the press. He's on his own in that midfield. Jamie Lindsay's backing him up a little bit, but when he was in there with Cafu, who was able to sit in behind him, or when Adopin is able to sit in behind him, then it gives him a little bit more scope and he has a more impact on the game. And at the moment, he's absolutely everywhere with the same performance level, but the impact on the game is diluted massively because he's not getting the support. That's the way I see it. So I don't think it's anything about him carrying injuries or anything. That's just my view. I'm not saying it's right, but that's how it feels to me.
Fair enough.
Sorry for interrupting, Danny.
No, it's all good.
2 against 1 mix, so stuff you. Josh Crystal says Ollie had a problem with groin last season. He struggled with it. He did have some issues. I thought they'd sort that out though, so hopefully it's not that. Because if it is that again, then that's a worry that it's a recurring issue. Positivity, Mick. We won the game. We talked about a lot of negatives tonight, I think. That's fair because the performance wasn't great, but it's 3 points on the board, and 3 points does a world. We all know how we all felt coming out of New York Stadium last night, and the players would have been feeling exactly the same thing. We've got a team coming up. We'll go and preview the Sunderland game in a second. We've got a team coming up on Friday who are a good team with some good players, but they ain't no Leicester. They ain't no Premier League team. No. Blackburn are the same. They're an average team that we're coming up against. Blackburn are certainly average. So Danny was said earlier about it being a positive step, but about potentially being a catalyst. Liam Richardson's got to try and harness this because this is a huge opportunity. You've got a home game. I don't care who we play. It's Sunderland. Great. It could be anybody. It's a home game. You then go away to an averaging team next one. There's a genuine chance of picking up some consistent points at least over the next 2 games here. Yeah,
without a doubt there is. Without a doubt, we just need to put those performances in, and hopefully, the more time that Liam Richardson gets with the squad, the more organised they become. And if we can put those Plymouth away level performances in, particularly at Blackburn, then hopefully we should get something from both games. I think the Sunderland one. This is the Sunderland is a game now is a key game because we're coming off the back of a win, and thankfully, I don't know whether that's the right word. We're not coming off the back of a dominant, all guns blazing win, a fantastic performance and a fully deserved win. Because if we were, then it's a kind of the number of times we've seen that before. That the next game you're expecting to win, it's after the Lord Mayor's show and it all falls down flat. We dropped very, very lucky against Middlesbrough. So I don't know where I'm going with that, but you know what I mean, don't you? The performance level wasn't there necessarily for the whole game. So we need to up that performance level, and if we can, then Sunderland should should be there for the taking. Yeah, they've got some quality players. They've also got one or two that roll around screaming like babies as well. Clark being a prime example. Not a fan. Think he's a cheat. That's my view. And I'm sure we'll see on Friday night, he'll be rolling around with his socks down around his ankles, clutching one shin or another knee or whatever, because that's what he does. Yes, he can impact a game. Yes, he's a quality player, but he just ruins it by cheating. So we'll have to see how that pans out on Friday. But I think we all know exactly how that's going to pan out. They have got quality, but so have we. So
yeah, we have. What do you want to see, Danny, on Friday in terms of Rotherham United? We've not got many players coming back. Clucas has played 2 half-an-hours or so there's a chance that Clucas might be available from the start. That's me speculating, though. Cafu is available from the bench, so you maybe expect more than 5 minutes or so, whatever he got this time. Other than that, Appiah came as a wing-back, so that's a possibility as well. Maybe give Eves a moment to start. Maybe now he's had a few sub-appearances. What would you change, if anything?
I don't think Appiah played the best in the position that he was in, to be fair. That was a bit of a... Ooh. But then again, he's one of the rare people you can actually play there. Because it's slim pickings, again, isn't it, lads? Which also plays into the thing of bringing Kelo back. Because I think Grant Hall's out now as well. Again.
Same injury.
Yeah, same injury in his hip. We might just line up with 9 players and just give it a best go that we can. No, I'm kidding. I think for me, I wouldn't be displeased with the same starting 11 potentially, but the application just to be a bit more on the front foot in the first half is how I'd change it, if that makes sense. Because we're in a position now where we don't really have much available. I think how many players do we have on the bench? Was it 6 again, or was
back up to 7 because of Cafu?
It's a bit better. With 7. It's not quite 9, but it'll do for now. So yeah, I'd be okay with it being the same starting 11 as long as we attack the team a bit better and have a few more shots at goal as well. And maybe bring Kelly into the fold earlier than he has been doing, like around 75 minutes rather than about 85. Because we said the same thing for Matt Taylor as well, to be fair. He brought George on too late and then he started bringing on earlier and he had more of an impact in the game. So I'd like to see that later in the game as well. Cafu coming into midfield later in the game, yeah, that's all right as well. But yeah, I think the turnaround is so quick. I'd be looking at the Blackburn game a little bit more with intrepidation rather than the Sunderland game. And I'd see more changes for the Blackburn game rather than the Sunderland one.
Tally says, personally, I think Hugo was great. Would she like to see Kelly start with number? I think probably more like to see Eves. If you're going to see a change, I think Liam Richardson initially seems to fancy a bit Eves better. Fancy him more, sorry. Harry, this is good to hear. We mentioned this. It's good to hear Humphries is back on grass, but not that good that Tyler's a few weeks behind him. No, we're talking weeks. So I'm not going to speculate but we're talking weeks. So I don't want to get every hopes up. This one, mate. Gary Pitcher said, "What do you make of Liam Richardson's comments regarding punctuality and players and Fred and people?" He said having to do more to assist their recovery. He thinks Fred wants out. Yeah, some people mentioned that. I didn't necessarily pick up on the time of the interview. But look, I mean, any quote you can make out to be anything you want, can't you?
Yeah, of course you can. And I'll be honest, I've not seen that. But if there's punctuality issues with players, then he's absolutely right to come down on them. You know, you've got to have standards. You've got to have standards. And if any player, and I'm not picking Fred out because I don't know anything about that, so it didn't, any player who's not achieving the standards that are expected, the basics, which is turning up on time, etc., or doing whatever recovery work you're supposed to do. If you're not doing that, then you need to be called out by the manager on it and dealt with, because, like I say, it's all about having high standards. So good if Liam Richardson's identifying any issues like that with anybody, whether it be players, coaches, and staff, or ball boys, whatever it is, deal with it and get those standards up.
A few people have mentioned Ayala Ayala should be back from suspension. He is back from suspension. Ayala had apparently a leg brace. I've seen a few people mention that they saw Ayala with a leg brace on.
Did someone get a bit annoyed and kicked him in the dressing room?
There's not been no rumours of a bust up. That's why,
Mick gets
start
the
one. Do we think that Sean Morrison punched him in the leg?
Oh no, it'll be a Fergie situation. He'll have kicked a boot and it's hit his knee and dislocated his kneecap or something. I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know. And with these games so close to some of these don't have pre-match presses, so we might not find out between now and Friday, whatever day it is today. Mick, I'll finish on. I'll ask you about what you want to see in terms of players. Is it just a step up in performance you want to see, or is there a different style? Or are you happy with the way that we seem to be playing under Liam Richardson in general?
I just want to see a little bit more in that central midfield. We need some more bite in there. I can't believe I'm saying that when we've got Jamie Lindsay and Ollie Rathbone in there. What we haven't got is anybody who's capable of putting the foot on the ball and just having a look around. Ty's spending a lot of his time defending rather than performing that role at the moment, and I guess that's just the nature of the teams that we've played. If we can get Tahi more in the game, more on the ball in that central midfield, and I'm happy with the lineup we've got at the moment. I may swap a Hugo out at some stage over these next couple of games. I don't know, but I'm comfortable with it. I like this up top. We just need somebody in that midfield who can just slow the pace down a little bit and just knock the ball about and leave Jamie Lindsay and Ollie Rathbone to do what they're good at, but they're not able to do that at the moment because Tahi's been dragged too far back defending. So we'll have to wait and see. But I wouldn't change it personally.
That's the trade-off, though, isn't it? Then we play two up top, you lose that man from midfield. Under Paul Warren, we had essentially a four-man midfield, a 3-5-2, but with a four-man midfield, when Matt Crooks was up. Or even last season with Hacks. Hacks was sort of a link. Yeah. But you play two up top, you're kind of losing that, aren't you? That you're sacrificing that for the second striker. Yeah. There we go. Predictions. I will go first because I've already given one to the podcast, so I will go 1-0 Rotherham United. Back-to-back 1-0s, back-to-back clean sheets, back-to-back wins. You feeling it?
Yeah.
Mick, 2-0 Rotherham?
2-1.
2-what? That's a change.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, 2-1 Rotherham.
Okay, I think that's a change. Anyway, could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. Who cares? Danny?
Well, we've gone from 5-1 to 2-1 at New York Stadium. So it's about time Sunderland didn't score against us. I'm going to echo you, Matt. I'm going to say 1-0 as well.
1-0, I like it. Martin Hall says another 1-0. And then Tom will be sweating on the third game for the yeah, that'd be good. Powerman says 2-1 to the Millers. Nathan Crouch says 3-1 to the Millers. Harry says 0-1 to Sunderland. If you want a bit more Sunderland chat, I've spoke to Graham Falk from What the Falk podcast. That scouting report will be up tomorrow morning time. So he gives a bit of a run. They've also had a change of manager. So we're leaving to Michael Beale. Michael Beale has come in. Which has upset some people. But they won. They won on the weekend, or Boxing Day, sorry. So if you want to find out a bit more at Sunderland, that will be up tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. Anything else, boys, we need to mention? I don't think there is.
I don't think
so. There we go. There we are. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. We will be back on Saturday. So because Sunday's New Year's Eve, we'll be back Saturday night. Mick's not happy about something else. Do you want to do a New Year's Eve episode?
No. It's the only reason I'm doing that is because I won't be here for Saturday. So
you'll be in a car park in Wales.
Well, I may not be in a car park in Wales, but I will certainly be in Wales. I'll do my best.
Okay, useless. We'll be back Saturday night. The instant reaction will be up Friday at some point, probably Friday evening. Ref watch. Martin Holland asks, there is a referee for this next game.
I should hope so.
The EFL website is very cryptic. And when I say cryptic, it says there isn't a referee. It says to be confirmed.
On iFollow, it's saying it's Tony Harrington.
Yeah, so for some reason, the EFL have not updated their website. But yeah, Tony Harrington is the referee for that one. Also, this is not relevant to this game, but we're going to have VAR against Fulham, by the way. If there is any VAR fans out there for the Fulham game in the FA Cup, VAR is in operation. Michael Oliver as well. Mick, Michael Oliver's on the VAR just for you.
I mean, yeah, perfectly fair. I think it's perfectly fair to me that some teams have VAR and other teams don't have VAR in the same round of the same competition. Perfectly fair. I don't see how anybody could argue with that. Oh, wait, apart from everybody.
Anyway, that's 2 weeks away. Well, it's just over a week away, isn't it, that?
What
On Friday.
Have the tickets come out for that yet?
Yeah, 25 quid.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Disagree. Make sure you subscribe. We put it on the instant reaction. We want to try and get to 1,500 subscribers by the end of the season. We're on 1,316 or something like 1,016. So we'll get to 1,500 by the end of the season. We'll make Danny do something stupid again. I don't know what, but we'll make him do something stupid again.
Yeah.
So that's what you're in for, Danny. Sorry, mate. If you're on iTunes and Spotify, again, make sure you're subscribed and liked. And give us a 5-star rating where it allows you to do so. And if you're watching live tonight, give it a thumbs up on YouTube as well, and follow us on Twitter as well. Is that everything?
I think you've gone through it all.
Yeah. Go through it again?
No.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us. I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas. And we'll see you all on the 29th, which is the Friday. Forget when days are. Thank you, Mick.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon, and up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Slides into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Doffin, he can hit them, and he does. The Doffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favor, drop me off in